In this video, we're going to work on the ALEKS problem called classifying slopes given graphs of lines. This problem is giving us 4 different graphs with 4 different lines, and it's asking us to determine whether the slope of each line is positive, negative, 0, or undefined. To do that, we are going to look at each graph and the line in each graph from the left side of the graph to the right side of the graph. And we're going to take a look at how that line changes as we go from the left to the right. In the first graph, as we go from left to right, the line moves in a downward direction. The line points down as we go from the left side to the right side. This is an example because it's going down. This is an example of a negative slope. In our next graph, if we look from the left side, we start on the left side and look to the right, we can see that our line is going up. This is an example of a positive slope. I'm just going to skip ahead over here. As we go from the left side to the right side, if we follow our line, we can see that our line, as we go from left to right, is staying flat. That is an example of a 0 slope. There's no slope there at all. It's totally flat. Don't be fooled. If it's even just barely slightly increasing, that would be a positive slope. In order to call it a 0 slope, it has to be totally perfectly flat. Now for this line number 3, in this case, as we look from the left side of the graph to the right side of the graph, there is nothing going on with this line. This line does not move from the left side of the graph to the right. It is just straight up and down the middle. In this case, the line doesn't have a slope, and we say that it is undefined. And again, just like in this situation with line number 4, this thing has to be perfectly flat and level for us to call it 0. Same thing here. This line has to be perfectly straight up and down in order for us to call it undefined. If there was even a slight angle to it at all, like this, then we would be able to say, as we go from the left to the right, barely, but there is some element of slope there. So this line has to be perfectly straight up and down, and then we can call it undefined.